Sometimes you hit me with some weird facts, and I'm like, you've lived 17 different lives.
Well, I kind of have.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Game Changers.
Hello, everybody.
I'm sorry we're not together for this episode. Truly, we
could have. A little crazy on the scheduling today.
Yes, it's a little funky. You'll find out why because we have a special guest later. But y'all will be listening to this on Saturday, but we're recording it today on Thursday, which is Halloween. So happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween, everybody!
I hope y'all had the most fun and safest time.
And you got candy, and you dressed up, and you did all this stuff.
Yeah. I go to like a family cousin party every single Halloween, and I've never missed one out of my years of life, and I don't intend on doing it. So from here, I have to go skirt.
And I just asked Kelsey, I was like, well, you don't have to go the whole time, right? And she was like, I've never missed one. I have to stay for the little cousins to get there.
It's like a big deal.
It's serious. Yeah, it's serious. It seems like it.
I literally texted Gwen's mom, and like she eats, breathes, sleeps Halloween. Like as soon as Halloween's over, she's like 364 more days until Halloween's back, or some shit like that. And so I texted her today. I was like, "Happy game day!" I was like, "This is your Super Bowl moment. You've waited all year for this."
Game day is crazy.
She responded back, "LFG" with 3 exclamation points.
Good for her. That's a queen right there.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, where can they find this episode, Sav?
All right. Well, you can listen to Game Changers wherever you get your podcasts, whether that is on Spotify, on Apple, any of that, wherever you get it, we'll be there. You can also watch this episode when it premieres on youtube.com/ETB network. Make sure you check out our show and you check out the rest of the shows on the network. They're all very good, but ours is the best because we're a little biased. What can I say?
This is true.
So make sure you check it out. And make sure you also follow Game Changers at Game Changers ETB on all social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, wherever you like to be. And also follow the network at ETB Network, wherever you are on social media as well.
Oh, now, shit. I got to get the ad read.
All right. Well, before you run up and get that, one other thing I want to touch on really, really, really quickly. Like Kelsey said, we're recording this on Halloween. This episode is going to come out on Saturday, November 2nd. Election day is November 5th. So please, if you are in the United States of America, please get out and vote. Your voice is important. Any little bit counts. Even if you don't think you matter in the grand scheme of things, you do. And what you say has an impact. So make sure you check if you're registered to vote. If you aren't registered, most polling sites can register you then and there. And check out if any local polling sites to you have early voting. The earlier you go, the less you have to wait in line and things like that. And it also guarantees that your vote gets counted. And not that they all don't get counted, but it guarantees that you're in there for sure by the time November 5th rolls around. Or if not, wait in line and stay in line and make sure your voice is heard and get your little I voted sticker. It's very important. So there's our PSA. Now you can go get the ad read.
Well, I also just wanted to say really quick too, like, I think I was naive at one point too. I was like, oh, like I'll vote, but like it's not like they're gonna see it. Like, no, like it does. Also, you just like it. You feel good after. You're like, you know what? I my opinion was shared, and we don't need to get political on this at all. But like, whatever way y'all decide to vote, we're just happy that you are out there doing that because there's so many people, especially in the younger generation, that don't really think that they need to because they're like, I won't be seen.
Yeah, we're voting for, our future. Kelsey and I are both in our mid-20s at this point, and so we're voting for the people who are 25 plus years younger than us and the future generations coming through. So your vote really matters in the grand scheme of things, not just for you and your generation, but think about the people who are going to come up and be the next generation of voters. No matter which way you lean, Republican, Democrat, it's important to get out there and vote and have your voice be heard. So get out there and vote. I already voted. Kelsey, did you already vote, or are you going to vote on election day?
Not yet. My voting day, I am allowed to go on November 5th. I have a set thing where I have to go in person.
All right. So, yeah, get out there and vote and have fun with it.
All right, I'll be RB.
Oh, camera off. Okay, she's leaving.
Because yeah.
So, everybody, while we have this moment, I went for a run before this, in case you were wondering.
You killed me.
I ran 2.5 miles. So, if you're wondering why my hair's a mess and why my face is a little red, it's because I literally, like 5 minutes before we recorded, within those 5 minutes, I jumped in the shower, rinsed my body super quickly, and jumped out of the shower. And here we are. So, nobody comment on my appearance today. All right.
Or mine. I'm in bed right now.
I have my protein shake, I have my water, and I'm feeling all right.
I don't have either, and I need something. Anyway.
Hit them with it.
Presented by Playback. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysts and commentary, and invite viewers up for a Q&A.
Hey!
Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience. From playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite teams and players, and watching with the commenters and communities you care about, win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/ETB network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. What was really funny about that is that the script actually says, from playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and I said teams and players. I don't know why my brain flipped those, and then I just kept reading as if that's exactly what it said.
You're good. I would have known if you didn't say anything.
Oh, well, now I know.
Now that people know. All right. Kelsey, you ready to talk about some news?
Let's do it.
Because we have had no shortage of WNBA news. We had the championship where the Liberty won, championship parade, and now we're in like the off-season craziness, if you will. So let's talk about this. Because it's been a little nutty.
That it has. I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah.
So Kurt Miller, LA Sparks. Since then, Teresa Witherspoon from the Chicago Sky.
Kelsey, I love you, but you missed the topic.
I missed the top one, and I'm literally trying to go back, and it's not even syncing. I'm like trying to understand your notes, and I'm just gonna let you take this one over.
Okay, well, your stuff reloads. Kelsey's been having a little bit of a moment today. She couldn't.
Having a week.
Kelsey had a day and a week, and arguably a month. So we'll cut you some slack. It's the last day of the month. We'll cut you some slack here. Don't even worry about it, babe.
Don't even worry about it, babe.
Don't even worry about it, babe. But yes, WNBA coach firing frenzy. So since the offseason / since the playoffs, a bunch of teams have let their coaches go. The first to go is Kurt Miller, who is the coach of the LA Sparks. Then Teresa Witherspoon from the Chicago Sky. Tanisha Wright from the Atlanta Dream. Latricia Trammell from the Dallas Wings. Mike Thibault from the Washington Mystics. Christy Sides from the Indiana Fever, and Stephanie White from the Connecticut Sun have all roughly been fired within a month.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. And I mean, some of those teams named there, like, they didn't make the playoffs this year. They haven't had the best go of it. But there were also 4 teams that have, like the Mystics, the Fever, the Dream, and the Aces have also all fired their general managers. So there's been a lot of like front office overhaul in the WNBA.
Are you surprised by the CT Sun one?
Like a little bit. I think she's a good coach. I think the problem is just that like the Connecticut Sun must be like cursed or something because, you know, they've never won a championship. Mm-hmm. Now they have the longest drought in the WNBA. It was because it was the Liberty and now it's the Sun. And I think it's like the coach has a part to play, of course, in the fact that they didn't make it because, you know, they make the calls. But I think a lot of it is just like the front office presence, I think, and how they operate. Like sports is a top-down operation. So if the people at the top aren't doing the right thing, you know, it'll just trickle down into every other facet of the organization. I wonder how much of this is her fault versus, you know, the players' faults. Not that, like, you know, they're the people we want to blame. Yeah, I don't know. It was just definitely shocking. I think they didn't give her enough of a chance. I think she was only there for like what, 2-3 years. Like,
I think so.
I feel like that's not enough chance. Other coaches stick around way longer, and they don't do well. Think about like the NFL. The NFL keeps around coaches for a little while, for a couple seasons, even if they're bad. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
I wanted to bring something up about basketball that I see that isn't on this, but I don't know. I don't really want to go off script like that.
You can go off script. Call an audible, baby.
Did you see the Angel Reese steroid allegations?
I did not. I don't know anything about this actually.
She got if you look it up, someone told me this the other day and I was like, there's no way, but someone basically was just like fired by Chicago Sky for steroid use. But then there's like someone else saying that it's not actually true. But what I said, when someone told me this in person, they're like, yeah, she's done. Like, she got fired from Chicago Sky because of a urine sample, blah, blah, blah. And I literally said, and I was just like, she just went under surgery. Like, are those the steroids that came up? And they're like, nope, she's doing performance enhancers. And I'm like, she's not even playing right now. What do you mean?
No. That is definitely weird. Do you remember a couple years ago, with the NWSL, there was he was like the head athletic trainer for the Portland Thorns, and he was like giving players codeine without their consent.
No.
You remember this?
What?
Yeah. Fun fact about that guy: he's married to Crystal Dunn, who is a U.S. Women's National Team defender. He's also my youth soccer coach.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And he didn't give you any as a child?
No, he didn't give me any as a child, but he did teach me how to do a pull back. So there's that.
It's pretty impressive. Sometimes you hit me with some weird facts, and I'm like, you've lived 17 different lives.
Well, I kind of have. He went to Quinnipiac. He played soccer there, and then he was my soccer coach. Huh?
The Q.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The Q.
Okay, so now we're on South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina to retire Aja Wilson's number 22 jersey.
Woo, woo, woo. Good for her.
Kelley O'Hara honored by...
Bro, you're cruising. We didn't even talk about it.
Oh, I thought the woohoo was it.
Nah, babe. We got more things to say.
I think we gotta start doing, like, run-throughs.
I think the problem is you see it on paper and you say, okay, go, 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 go. I need to write pause after every single one.
I probably should, because then I could be like... But then the problem is I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to read pause. Yeah. And I'm going to be like, oh, that's for me.
We'll figure it out. But,
those are green.
Yeah, you're real green today.
They're really green today. Normally, they're not green.
Well, today they are.
Aja
Wilson, as we know, won the national title of South Carolina in 2017. She's got a statue, and now she's getting her jersey retired. That's all I wanted to say on it.
Wait, just because I saw it all over X, did you see, like, what was his name? It's not Kevin Durant. Who's the basketball player that just got the statue? But the statue.
Oh, Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade, and the statue is just so, like, bad.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's like, I could see the pain in his eyes, and he's just looking at the statue like.
Yeah, he said it's supposed to be like an artistic representation.
Oh, they meant that.
Okay,
right.
Now we're on this one.
Kelley O'Hara honored by United States Women's National Team in a farewell ceremony.
Yes, Kelley O'Hara. Oh my God, a wasp just landed on my window, but it flew away.
Is it inside or outside?
It was outside, but it scared me.
God, don't scare me like that, Bestie.
It scared me. It scared me. It was right here. I know. If it was going to come at me, I would have had to run away. Anyway.
Would have been a civil
bad. Kelley O'Hara, whatever you call it. I say O'Hara, but perhaps it is O'Hara. She played for the U.S. national team for a number of years, plays for Gotham FC, announced her retirement, and yeah, they gave her a little farewell ceremony as the U.S. national team does its friendlies. They actually just played last night. They played Iceland. And Naomi Girma, my girl, she scored.
Did she really?
Yeah, she scored. Little header.
Damn.
Upper right corner.
Upper decky.
Yeah, a little upper decky, but they don't call it that in soccer. Call it an upper 90.
Oh, what is it? Upper 90?
Yeah, because of the 90-degree angle.
I knew that. Yeah. I knew that.
they honored her. Another US. They also honored Rose Lavelle had 100 caps, hit her 100th game. So good for her. And Mallory Swanson, also 100 games. So shout outs to all of those people. US Women's National Team. It makes me nervous because like those are all of the players that I watched as like a kid. So now they're hitting like 100 games and retiring, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, what am I supposed to do about that?
This next one is fun only because I know someone in the PWHL.
Yeah.
The Professional Women's Hockey League announces 2 new expansion teams that could hit the ice as early as 2025-2026 season.
Yeah, this is exciting.
We worked for a foundation at one point. We do not say said foundation, but we did. And his like basically she did everything. She was too good for him. Like almost personal assistant-esque. But Taylor Gerard, she plays for the PWHL for Boston.
Yeah.
And it's funny because she's like one of her best friends, Lexi, I think is her name, or Alexa, I don't know. I always see them on my Instagram feed, but they both were like teammates at Quinnipiac. And now they're like living life together up in Boston, just like thriving. It's really cute to see them together. I'm happy for them.
That's awesome. So yeah, the PWHL announced it. The ESPNW had I had a little moment there. ESPNW had their yearly summit in California, which is a great event. I've been to the summit in New York, and it's a lot of fun. You just sit there all day and listen to all these great athletes and coaches and ESPN personalities yap about life, which is really honestly like a dream. It's so much fun. Yeah. Anyways, the senior vice president of the PWHL announced that they're looking into expansion. Expansion teams are on the way. They also announced that they're probably going to play 9 games out of the out of market. So one of them was already announced. They're going to play in Quebec. They're also eyeing some games in Europe and an outdoor game. So really exciting stuff from the PWHL. I know we did this when we were talking about WNBA expansion, but where do you think the PWHL will grow to? Actually, before you answer, there are some requirements they put out that have where they can grow to. So like one of them is like having adequate facilities, having like the infrastructure to do it, having like a large youth hockey presence and like things like that. So keep all of that in mind geographically as you think about where you think it could be.
They still have the CT team, no?
Nope.
I think that's why she dipped, because she was there and then she went to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
New York?
There's a New York team.
What are they?
The New York Sirens.
Sirens?
Yes.
That's interesting.
There's a team in New York, a team in Boston, a team in Minnesota, a team in Montreal, a team in Ottawa, and a team in Toronto.
I mean, they just hit all the fucking hockey cities.
Yeah. To start.
That makes sense. I wonder if they would do one in like whatchamacallit? Just like having like when I was in high school, we had a lot of kids obviously from Canada that played hockey, but we actually had a good amount of kids south who came here to play. Mm-hmm. And like there is a good amount of kids south that like play, but then they all just end up over here because it's colder. But I wonder if they would just do one in the south and just let them have their range there. Yeah. Like we had one kid from Arizona, filthy.
Does your school still have a hockey team? I feel like I didn't even know that.
Not anymore, no.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
I think for me, in terms of where they'll grow to, I think geographically being close to Canada / in Canada is like makes the most sense for them since there's 3 teams in Canada. Obviously the NHL has teams all over the America and Canada, but for that reason alone, I think that we could see a team in Buffalo.
Ooh.
Not that Buffalo is like necessarily like the best sports town.
Well, that's why I said New York.
Yeah, that New York team's in New York City, but I think a team in Buffalo could be kind of swaggy. They had
New
when
Hampshire type shit, New Hampshire, Maine type.
maybe it's just like I think you have to just think about where there are professional sports markets, and there are no real professional teams in not Massachusetts, in Maine and New Hampshire. But Buffalo used to have a PHF team, the Buffalo Buttes. So I think Buffalo could be an option, and then I saw some people speculating perhaps Vancouver. I think Vancouver's just a little too far out there unless like they also expand into like Seattle or like it has to be balanced, I think. But there's a lot of great options or a lot of great hockey cities. Obviously the South could be interesting. I've also seen people throw out Pittsburgh, which I'm not opposed to that. I kind of vibe with a Pittsburgh team.
Okay.
But that's all I got. It'd just be exciting to see, and obviously this is a testament to its growth.
Pittsburgh Polar Bears?
Maybe. That's the best name you've thought of, I think.
Oh, come on. Miami Mommies is superior.
Oh, boy.
Get that out of here.
But this is just a testament to the PWHL's growth over the last year. Obviously, last year was their first season, and women's hockey players have been campaigning to have a league like this that they can call their own and grow into a space that they want it to be. And they're really doing that. So shout outs to them. They're doing something. And now we're going to hit you with some NWSL news. You want it or you want me to read it?
Leroux? Leroux?
Leroux.
Leroux.
Leroux. Leroux? That's good.
I feel like you think I'm stupid.
I don't think you're stupid. I never once said those words. I just think that sometimes you don't know how to say things, and that's okay. Not everybody's perfect.
Sydney Leroux. There
you go.
Resigns with Angel City FC.
Resigns.
What'd I say? Resigns.
She signed another contract for 3 years. I guess there should be a dash in there. My apologies.
Yeah, I'm not that bad.
Nah. Yeah, she re-signed for them with 3 years, but I also wouldn't feel right to talk about Angel City without talking about a little bit of controversy that they're having. Do you know anything about this?
No.
Oh, well, here you go. So Angel City, I don't remember exactly when it happened, but it happened, I think, earlier this month. They were fined $200,000, I believe.
For what?
Well, I'm getting there.
Oh, sorry, I got excited.
They were fined and they were docked 3 points from their standings.
What?
And at that time, they were in a playoff spot. So losing the 3 points knocked them out of the playoffs, and like for sure knocked them out of the playoffs, which is it's sad and sucks. But basically, the league did an investigation and found that there were like 5 players signed to their roster that the league didn't know about as a way to try to like evade the salary cap.
Sneaky.
Try to beat out the salary cap, because I don't know the salary cap off the top of my head, but it's not very high.
Look it up.
And basically then it came out through, people were doing some digging.
So, $2.75 million.
Yeah, so they were trying to basically sign these athletes, or however they were doing it. And the reason why they were doing it was, one of the reasons they found out why they were doing it was because the NWSL gives every player like a stipend, basically similar to the WNBA. They give them, because we talked about this when we talked about Dearica Hamby, when she was with her controversy with the Aces. They give them a stipend for like childcare to pay for daycare, school, whatever. And so these women were basically signed, or one of the women at least was signed in this way to kind of get the money for the like childcare services that the NWSL provides. And so then the league was like, can't do that, you're cheating the system. And so then Sydney Leroux actually put out a statement and was like, women shouldn't have to choose between like pursuing their dreams and being a mom. Like, both can. I hope we come to an agreement. We figure this out. So that's a little thing. It's still developing. I'm sure they'll probably reinvestigate it again, but stinky to see. You don't want,
That's
every
tough.
time there's like forward momentum, there's always something that pulls the NWSL back, which is kind of depressing. But yeah.
That's so sneaky. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Especially when the women's sport equal pay.
I know. And it's like the NWSL is like truly has been leading the charge for women's soccer in North America, I would argue. And by default, like leading a generation of soccer fans and finding their space and whatever. So it's just like, I hope it gets its shit together.
Me too.
But so now Kelsey and I are going to switch gears a little bit. Actually, Kelsey is not going to be in this next part. It's just going to be me. So we'll miss you, Kels. But that being said, we have a very special guest coming. Her name is Elena Shkylar, and she is a volleyball analyst for the Big Ten Network. She's also a close friend of mine, so excited to see her. And we're going to talk about some women's volleyball. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. It'll be just like this in a second for you guys, but we'll miss you, Kels.
Bye.
Can't wait to tell you all about it.
Can't wait.
So hello, everybody. We are here now with our special guest, one of my closest friends from going to school together. This is Elena. A little bit about her. She played volleyball at Michigan State and at Arizona, and now she is an analyst for the Big Ten Network. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Mac. I'm happy to be with you virtually, but miss you in person.
Oh, I miss you. I miss hanging out. We have a lot of good memories. Me and Elena actually went on like this class trip, and we sat on the airplane together, and we were roommates. So
all the way in Arizona. That was
exactly. So for our little segment, I've decided to call it NCAA Volleyball Chat with Elena. So let's just jump right into it. Like I said, Elena's an analyst for the Big Ten Network, so maybe we'll start there. Let's have Big Ten like season recap up to this point. What's been surprising? What's been kind of like, I don't know, status quo for some of these teams? What are the vibes over there?
Yeah, it's as good as it gets. I mean, Big Ten volleyball is always incredible and the best conference in the country, and it is yet again. And this season has been so fun, especially with the 4 new West Coast teams joining, adding UCLA, Oregon, Washington, and USC has just been so great, besides the fact that I have to call a match starting at 10 p.m. tomorrow Central Time. But other than that, it's been fun having them in our conference. But I mean, yeah, this conference just keeps getting stronger. At the top, it's always Nebraska, Wisconsin. But this year, Penn State is in that title race. We're about halfway through the conference season right now. So each teams have played about 10, 11 matches. And right now it's Nebraska and Penn State up at the top undefeated, and Wisconsin with just 1 match underneath them. So the title race is wide open. And I personally think it kind of runs through Happy Valley. Penn State only plays Nebraska, Wisconsin once, and then Nebraska and Wisconsin play each other twice. So just more room for error there. But I've been super pleasantly surprised with just the parity of the entire conference. I mean, top to bottom, no match is an easy match. I've seen Michigan pushing top teams. We saw a great thriller last night between Washington and Oregon, and Washington upset Oregon, who's a top 10 team. So these are just, it's what you get when you watch Big Ten volleyball. And you have reigning National Player of the Year Sarah Franklin in there, who's trying to go for a repeat. She's so fun to watch, but just the best volleyball, best players, and so many ranked teams. In my opinion, we should have about 10 teams going into the NCAA tournament. We'll see how many the committee takes. Hopefully, I mean, at least 8, but I think there's 10 that are tournament teams. So it's been a really fun season, and there's still like 10 more games in conference play. So if you haven't caught them, make sure you tune in.
Mm-hmm. And with those teams joining the conference this year, how does that kind of change like college volleyball like across the country, not just with the Big Ten?
It's changed the entire landscape. I mean, looking at the ACC has already been a great volleyball conference, but now they just added Stanford to their conference. And Stanford is one of the most prominent volleyball programs of all time. So looking at like just how different these conferences are looking. And now you have Stanford in the ACC and SMU, who's becoming an amazing program this season as well. Totally a dark horse coming in. But it's been just fun to see, like, you see SMU play Pitt and you're like, oh, this is a conference matchup, or like Cal playing UVA and you're like, how is this conference play? Like, it's definitely been interesting to see. And I think it just makes almost every game feel like it has bigger stakes going into the tournament, if that makes sense. But it's been crazy to see. I'm also like, I don't know if anyone has seen on Twitter, there was like Stanford women's volleyball, the miles they traveled this season. And they're traveling like over 30,000 miles this season with all of like going to the East Coast to play.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I mean, prayers out to the players.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do that, but
yeah. Plus with like homework and like going to bed at a normal hour, like
I have no idea how to do that. I'm like, I barely can do any of it now, and I'm not even a student athlete anymore. But I don't know how they do it. Kudos to all of them.
Yeah. You mentioned Pitt. I wanted to talk about them kind of specifically because they've been number one for like ever and ever, it seems like, this season. What has been, well, for me as somebody who is kind of like a volleyball outsider, when I hear Pitt, like I don't think volleyball. I think of some other sports. So it was kind of shocking to me to see them kind of be that highly ranked and obviously be number one. So what is your kind of thoughts on their season and how it's been going?
Yeah, I mean, Pitt is dominant this season, and they made 3 straight Final Fours, and they've been really good in the last 5-6 years. Their head coach, Dan Fisher, has completely changed the program around, because even when I was playing, which was not that long ago, they were not that prominent of a program. And now, like I said, they're number one in the country. They're looking to make their 4th straight Final Four. And they honestly have, in my opinion, one of the, like, possibly a front runner for National Player of the Year with Olivia Babcock, a sophomore on the right side. She was National Freshman of the Year. That team is just full of All-Americans. They returned so many players that have been on those Final Four teams. So they just have an insane amount of experience. They were undefeated. They did drop a match to SMU, a really hard-fought 5-setter, which SMU right now, if you are number one in the country, they're going to come for you. They beat 2 number one teams this season, Nebraska and Pitt. But for Pitt, I honestly feel like being undefeated can be a curse. So having that one loss under your belt is good to learn from. But I still think even with that loss to SMU, like, they are the by far favorite. I watch Big Ten volleyball every night, and I still watch that Pitt team play, and they just don't have a weakness. Every attacker is good. They have a fantastic libero, one of the best setters in the country. I saw a stat today that they lead the country in hitting percentage, meaning that they are the most efficient offense. So they're getting kills all the time. And they also lead the country in the opponent hitting percentage. So meaning if you're playing against them, you can't score against them. So offensively and defensively, they're the best. Like, how do you compete against that?
Yeah. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah. And
I'd be like, guys, I don't know. Somebody
it's crazy.
Forward.
Yeah. I'm like, I watch matches and I'm trying to come up with keys of like how teams can beat them. And I'm like, they don't have a weakness. But it's been really fun to see Pitt, who, like, East Coast volleyball hasn't always been the best. I grew up on the East Coast. It's not always a powerhouse, but like Pittsburgh just becoming this good. And now they're getting so many fans and support in Pittsburgh. It's been really fun to see.
And when we talk about these like national rankings, and as we kind of head for the rest of the season through like the national playoffs and whatever, all that stuff, who do you kind of see as like making a late surgence into like the polls, or maybe somebody who's kind of at the bottom and they might drop off? Who's like your like last 5 in, maybe last 5 out, or something like that?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think right now, just looking from a Big Ten point of view, because that's where that's where my focus is, of course. I'd say right now, Michigan is like right there with making it in. If you haven't followed Michigan, last season, they had 1 billion injuries and won like 8 games on the season. And now they're already up to like 16 wins. Like, they have completely turned it around. Their coach is with our Olympic team, so I'm not surprised. But they are a team that definitely is on the bubble, and I would love to see them get in, because I think that would be the 10th Big Ten team that should make it. But I mean, otherwise, we have teams like Texas A&M who just upset Texas about a week ago. So they're probably a bubble team, but maybe with that upset, they'll be in. Arkansas, UVA got a good win. So who knows where they fall in the ABC rankings right now and in the ACC. And then another Big Ten team with Washington with that big upset over Oregon last night. So those are maybe my last like couple teams in. But looking ahead to the tournament, I always like look at dark horses and who I think could really cause trouble with like going to the Final Four and maybe upsetting teams. 2 years ago, San Diego beat Stanford and made their first Final Four. No one was expecting that. I think this year it could be Creighton and SMU, two teams that historically are not volleyball powerhouses, but Creighton always plays well in the tournament. They're 6th in the country right now. They are definitely gunning for that top 4 seed. And then SMU, like I said, has beat Nebraska and Pitt, the two number 1 teams in the country, respectively, at their time. So, I mean, I don't know if those teams will win the national championship, but they could definitely upset some people and make a Final Four. And I just think that'd be really fun to see for the sport. It's not, always the same schools, which we love our Nebraska, our Texas, our Wisconsin, our Stanford. We love them, but it is fun to see some new names in there.
Yeah, it's time to see somebody new take it over.
Right, exactly.
Get out there.
Go do your thing.
Get out there, hit the ball, and score and do your thing.
Yay!
Yay, volleyball. But another thing I wanted to ask you too is, as kind of volleyball's growing into like college volleyball's kind of always been around, but now we're seeing like professional leagues pop up in North America specifically. Do you think you'll come out of retirement?
Oh no.
And then B, just kind of like how do you think that helps volleyball grow even more from the position it's in now?
Yeah, I mean, the sport's absolutely blowing up. We've seen it in college volleyball. I mean, I kind of look to last year with like women's hoops and Caitlin Clark and like that effect and that impact. And I feel like volleyball is not going to have the jump over 4 years that NCAA women's basketball did with Caitlin, but we have been having steady increase in women playing and women and girls playing volleyball, and just like the amount of fans coming to matches, people watching games, all of that, like it just keeps growing. And I look back on like August 30th, 2023. I'm never going to forget the date when Volleyball Day in Nebraska, 92,003 people filled Memorial Stadium to watch Nebraska volleyball play, set a world's attendance record for women's sports. I think that just really showed like, look, volleyball is here and it's growing. And we saw so many attendance records breaking, so much viewership. There's more girls playing youth volleyball right now than there ever was before. So it's just blowing up. And I think it's just, people are realizing how fun it is. And, we don't have a Caitlin Clark. I'd say the closest thing we have to a Caitlin Clark is like Sarah Franklin from Wisconsin or Maddie Skinner from Texas, but we don't have that to blow up our sport. But I think it's just been consistently growing. And then adding professional leagues to the US. No, I will not come out of retirement and play. 1, I'm not good enough. And 2, I'm just not going to do that. But it's huge. I mean, we get to bring all of these amazing collegiate players that played in NCAA and then went overseas to play professionally. We get to bring them back to the States, have them play on home soil, build that fan base, and have volleyball be year round. And there's going to be 3 leagues, a bunch of Olympians competing in all the leagues. A lot of college players that are going to finish their careers and immediately go into the league. So Sarah Franklin is going to finish her career at Wisconsin and immediately start playing professional volleyball in the US. And that's going to be absolutely amazing to see. So I'm fangirling over it, but even back like when I was playing, when I graduated, the only options were, if I were to go play pro, was to go overseas. And that sounds fun, but also that's far and it's not what everyone wants to do. So I just think it's so exciting to have opportunities for them to stay in the US and keep playing in the US and earn a livable wage playing volleyball in the US. And then for the fans, like for, little boys and girls and families to go watch them play volleyball, like to watch professional volleyball in Wisconsin or Nebraska or Texas. It's going to be so cool. I'm super excited. I won't be playing, but I'll be at the matches cheering.
And that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Well, unfortunately, won't come out of retirement, but let's talk a little bit about when you were like. I want to kind of talk about just like you personally because I think you're awesome and incredible. But like, what was that kind of like transition for you from being a player to now you're an analyst for like the same league that you played in or conference that you played in? Is it like weird? Like, are there still people like at those schools and places that you're like, I was once there and now here I am with my little microphone?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm at the last wave of players that I played with. So next year I'll be officially old. I don't think I'm officially old yet,
Of course not.
but you know, the 5th years right now I played with, but it's really fun too. Calling Big Ten games when there were players I played with or I played against or I grew up playing club with. And the volleyball world is small. Everyone knows everyone. So it's like so many of these players, you know, my mom there's a girl who transferred to Michigan State and my mom coached her at my club. She was 13, I was 18. It's like just crazy things like that. The volleyball world is so small. But yeah, I mean, I have a couple former teammates. Like I said, Sarah Franklin's name a couple times. Any volleyball fan knows her. She's the reigning National Player of the Year and Big Ten Player of the Year. She played her freshman year at Michigan State with me. So it's like, I see her out on the court and it's fun because as an analyst, I get to be like, I remember setting her. I remember playing with her and what it's like to be next to her on the court.
Yeah, FaceTime. This is really not great for my brother of all people. Sorry about that.
That's such a brother thing to do.
No, literally.
Oh,
I want to show you my kids' Halloween costume. I'll be like, you gotta call me in like a half hour. I'm not ready right now.
Okay, wait, but that'd be cute.
That would be cute. She's dressing up as like a little like 80s workout like person. So she got a little like headband and like leg warmers.
Okay, that's cute.
Trying to show me. So, but sorry he interrupted you.
No, you're good. I was just saying it is cool to have that experience of like I played with this player, so I have that little inside scoop on what it's like being on the court with her, or I played against this player and stuff like that. So it is fun. And then just the experience of actually playing in this conference and knowing what it's like every single night to play, you know, at Nebraska, to play at Penn State and deal with their fans, to play at Purdue where you can't even hear your teammates standing right next to you on the court, like to play in all of those atmospheres. It's a fun experience. But it also makes me feel old sometimes. I'm like, wow, I haven't played. I was peppering, like, which is just, you know, you're just playing back and forth with my play-by-play partner before a match I called last Sunday. And I was like out on the court, just touching the volleyball. And I was like, wow, I suck. Like it has been years. Like I'm out here breaking down what all these incredible athletes are doing. And I'm like, I can't do that anymore. Like I was never at the level some of these girls are at. I mean, they're incredible, but I'm like, wow, I'm old. But it is fun to be on this side and like have that experience that I had in the conference and be able to bring that forward while I break down these matches. And, you know, I've been in their shoes, so I know what it's like. And I was a setter, which, you know, you have to kind of understand the game at a different level. So I think that translates pretty well to the broadcasting side and the analyst side of the game. But it's also just fun. I mean, it's talk volleyball. Like what else? I obviously you can tell I love to talk volleyball. So yeah, it's been a dream, honestly.
Yeah. And for the people out there who don't know much about me or Elena, we met in our master's program. So we both went to Medill at Northwestern. And if you didn't know, like, Elena, this is what Elena was like born to do and like meant to do. So I'm so happy that you get the opportunity to do it. But I wanted to ask, like, give me like your day in your life of like, if you have a match to call or like you're on the road somewhere, like what's your schedule like? How crazy is it? Like what goes on in the day?
Right. Yeah. Well, the fall, especially like during Big Ten volleyball season, is a bit crazy for me. I don't know. We haven't chatted in a while, so I don't know if you knew this, but I actually started a full-time job in a completely different field as well. So I work in medical device sales. So when I have to do my actual job too, that makes it even crazier. But on days that I get to dedicate just to Big Ten, like the Saturday I get to call a match, and days like that, you know, if I get to be on site, I get to go into the gym, go to their practices, interact with the coaches and players, kind of watch them warm up and practice and ask the coaches questions, and then usually camp out at the nearest Starbucks and do a bunch of prep, watch some film, just take notes and make sure I'm familiar with all the players and their styles of play. It feels like back when I was an athlete, when I watched film on them, because I think like, okay, what do they do really well and what's their weakness? And then that way I can focus on it when I'm calling matches. And then when I get to the match, it's go time. It's fun from there. It's, we just get to talk volleyball, have fun with it, break things down, stay positive because they're 18 to 22-year-olds out on the court. Like we're not trying to tear them down. We're trying to have fun. And I also do a bunch of studio, which is so much fun. I just get to break down matches after the match. So last night I got to break down the amazing Oregon-Washington 5-set thriller and got to be in studio basically explaining what happened. How did Washington come out with the win? And that's especially fun because in studio, when we're on air at like midnight, no one's listening. We're just like joking around and it's a great time. And once again, just talking volleyball. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of prep, different styles, but it's just so much fun getting to literally just the fact that I get to have this be a job as talking volleyball is amazing.
Well, you deserve it and you do such a great job. I want you to know that. I'm not just saying that because I know you and I'm like your friend. I really mean it. Like you do a good job. I watch the clips. I don't get the Big Ten Network or out where I'm at in Connecticut. But every time a little clip pops up, I'm like, I know her. That's my Elena.
That's her. I know her.
That's my girl. She's my roommate.
We were roommates.
But thank you for taking some time. Is there anything else you want to kind of chat about as we wrap up, or you're feeling good?
Yeah, I mean, just tune into volleyball. If you don't get Big Ten Network, do you get ACC? Do you get ESPN? Watch some volleyball. There's good volleyball on all the time, and I would just say, watch it because even if you don't know much about the actual sport, it's so exciting and the athletes are so fun to watch and just watch some volleyball. That's all I got to say.
Awesome. Well, where can the people find you? Give yourself a little plug, a little Instagram or Twitter or whatever you want. So if you want some followers, I can't guarantee that there will be a lot, but there might be a couple.
That's fine. That's fine. Instagram, just Elena Shkylar 12, and Twitter, I think is just Elena Shkylar. I don't know. Not many people have my name, so if you search it, you'll probably find me. So,
woo. Well, thank you. You're the best.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Of course.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode so much. Big thanks to our special guest. I'm sorry again I couldn't be there for that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed a different voice other than just mine. I know it's kind of annoying to listen to. It's pretty raspy and manly for a female.
And we got to talk about a new topic. We haven't really dived into women's volleyball, so
yes, and I'm actually so bummed I missed this one because I love watching the volleyball games. And my friend, one of my good friends, she played college volleyball, so super bummed. But I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Hopefully, you got to take at least something out of there that you think could benefit how you look at some different things. So I appreciate y'all so much for watching, and thank you.
Yeah, and one last time, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETV Network. Listen to Game Changers wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure you follow Game Changers at Game Changers ETV, and you follow MP The Bench Network at ETV Network. So that's all from us on this week, but we'll see you next time.
And peace.